Okay, you guys, our favorite senator, no, not senator, our favorite governor of all time has unfortunately made it back in the news. Now, I got to do some push-ups before we start the stream, okay? I got to get push-ups in for Coach Walz. We want Coach Walz. Tim Walz got served a subpoena as he deserved. We all know he deserved it. Because we all know that Tim Walz is an incompetent governor and one of the worst governors we've ever seen. Now, it brings me great pleasure to see Tim Walz served one of these subpoenas. Right? We all know. We're not stupid. We saw what happened, and we know what happened. We know what Tim Walz did. We know what Jacob Frey did. Jacob Frey and Tim Walz both deserved to be served a subpoena. Because honestly, we're tired of their crap. And here's the thing. I feel bad for the people who live in Minnesota who have to be told, what to do by this incompetent boob. Like, how can you take anything these guys say as serious? Because they're not. They're not serious. Tim Walz is a shitty governor, and Jacob Frey is a terrible mayor. Now, I'm going to do some push-ups. Okay, I can only get 10 in, but the best thing for now. Okay. Okay. Feline Gaming, what up? You took my suggestion and made it the title. Wait, what did I do? Tim Subpoena Walz. Yeah. Well, Tim Walz is back. Our favoritist governor. Our favoritist fraudster. Timothy frickin' Subpoena Walz, dude. Our boy was served a subpoena. Yeah. Look, our man, obviously, our favorite governor in the world, obviously, allegedly committed fraud. And it's pretty obvious, and Nick Shirley exposed Tim Walz for the degenerate he is. And I'm very proud of what he did. I'm proud of Nick Shirley. That is. Because I think we all know, in our heart of hearts, that Tim Walz is an incompetent boob. He's one of the worst governors you could ever have. Like, I still don't know why. I don't know why people would want him as a governor, you know? Yeah, no, Tim Walz is utterly... Dude, Tim Walz is so utterly screwed right now. It's crazy. Crazy. You guys got to give me a second, though. We're gonna watch a little bit of Tim Walz coverage. Being served a subpoena. We're gonna react to this. As we all know, we're not a pro Tim Walz channel. We are not a fan of Tim Walz. We think he's one of the most incompetent governors of all time. And we wish to talk about that. We have 6,954 subscribers. Please tap the subscribe button. And if you're subscribed already, just tap the like button. That works too. Okay. So DOJ subpoenas Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, and other Minnesota officials. Let's take a look. Let's see what's happening, man.
Also want to share this. We
The
are
GOAT.
also following some breaking news. This is from the Associated Press stating that the Justice Department has subpoenaed Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and 5 other Minnesota officials in immigration enforcement obstruction investigation. I wanted to share this live look with you of Minneapolis and share a little bit more on this breaking news as we continue to follow it. Federal prosecutors have served 6 grand jury subpoenas to Minnesota officials as part of an investigation into whether they obstructed or impeded federal law enforcement during an immigration operation in Minneapolis, St. Paul. That area, that's according to a person familiar with
it wouldn't surprise me if they were trying to, because if they're dude, here's the thing. If Jacob Frey and Tim Walz are telling their citizens to basically interfere with ICE, that is an obstruction of justice, whether they agree with ICE or not. It's a federal agency, man. B. Belanda says, "This is my state, and it sucks now." What? Yeah, Tim Walz is terrible, man. Tim Walz is probably one of the freaking worst, dude. I am not a fan of Tim Walz at all, dude. I think he's one of the worst governors I've ever seen. I thought Tina Kotek was a shitty governor.
That's out loud.
But honestly, I'm starting to believe Tim Walz might be the greatest, shittiest governor of all time. And when I say greatest, shittiest, I mean like he's so good at being a shitty governor. You guys, by the way, we're at 6,956 subscribers. I repeat, 6,956 subscribers. We're almost to 7,000. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button. Liking the stream goes a long way, and it really does help the channel grow in so many ways. Let's keep going.
This matter. The subpoenas, which seek records, were sent to the offices of Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, St. Paul Mayor Herr, and officials in Ramsey and Hennepin counties. Now, that person who spoke to the Associated Press was not authorized to publicly discuss the ongoing investigation and spoke to the AP on the condition of anonymity. The subpoenas are related to an investigation into whether Minnesota officials obstructed federal immigration enforcement through public statements they made.
So people in the comments are saying, let's see, Anonymous is saying stolen Valor E9, but was an E8 Master Star. Oh, wow, okay. All right. B. Belanda 1818 says it literally feels like George Floyd right now. So B. Belanda, so do you live in Minneapolis? Yeah, Annie, Walz is a special kind of stupid. I can agree with you there. Now, I'm pretty much pro-Trump at this point. I mean, I've been pro-Trump for a long time. But no, I can't stand the Democrat Party, man. The Democrat Party they make me upset, man. I try not to get too triggered by things, but my God, the Democrat Party is just the party of what the fuck. B. Belanda says yes. Okay, so I'm just going to call you Belanda, if that's okay. So Belanda, what is going? You are the eyes and ears of Minnesota in this chat room. What else is going on? Are people going crazy? Has the left completely lost their mind in Minnesota? And if so, can you give me some examples of what they're doing? 'Cause, I mean, you're there in the chaos. You're there. Are you in Minneapolis as well? I mean, I'm sure the entire state of Minnesota right now is going crazy. I think there's probably a lot of woke people that are just going cray-cray, a lot of woke Karens. And, yeah, I'm not, as you all know, I'm not a fan of the woke Karens. I think a lot of them are overreactive and stuff like that, and they make the world a worse place.
People familiar with that matter, they said then it was focused on the potential violation of a conspiracy statute. Walz and Fry, both Democrats, have called the probe a bullying tactic meant to quell.
How is it a bullying tactic? You guys basically told your citizens, allegedly, to obstruct what ICE was doing. You guys were basically telling them to, in a sense, interfere with ICE investigations. Don't give me that garbage. It's not a bullying tactic. You guys are using a bullying tactic by basically telling your citizens to defy ICE and defy. It's a federal agency. You know, whether you agree with ICE or not, it's still a federal agency. For instance, I can't stand the FBI. I think the FBI is a shitty organization, but I still comply. You want to know why? Because I got no other choice. And the best thing I could do if I want to dismantle the FBI, I got to vote for people who hate the FBI just as much as I do so they could dismantle the entire organization. Legally. Jeremy Stark is saying I'm a bootlicker, dude. I am a bootlicker. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. I am a bootlicker. I'm going to repeat. I'm a bootlicker. Okay? Let's keep going.
Political opposition. And this is the reaction from Mayor Jacob Fry saying, in Minneapolis, we won't be afraid. We know the difference between right and wrong. And as
No, you don't. You basically believe that anything that you believe in your head is right. That's the problem with people like you, Mayor Jacob Fry, is that you are a shitty mayor. You're a crappy mayor, Jacob Fry. That's all I got to say.
Mayor, I'll continue to do the job I was elected to do, keeping our community safe and standing up for our values. We're also getting reaction from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. This is the lengthy statement that he shared saying, Mr. President, Minnesota invites you to see our values in action. Come see how communities from all walks of life are working together.
No, dude, if Trump goes to Minnesota, not even the Secret Service, I don't even think the Secret Service could keep him protected. Seriously. And look at this, but let me be absolutely clear. The state of Minnesota will not be drawn into political theater. You absolutely drew people into political theater. Are you kidding me? It all started with you telling people to defy ICE. The more, dude, by the way, the more that it's funny, Tim Walz is one of those guys that makes life increasingly difficult on himself and then blames everybody else for the fact that his life is so difficult. He's one of those stupid fucks.
Together and how the spirit
of
this state refuses to be defined by division or fear. I invite you to join me and others.
And by the way, the people in Minneapolis are batshit crazy. The people that are rioting in the streets, they are crazy. They are crazy woke people. And what do you do with crazy woke people? You run as far as you can away from the wokes. The woke people are shitty.
In our community to help restore calm and order and reaffirm that true public safety comes from shared purpose, trust, and respect. But let me be absolutely clear. The state of Minnesota will not be drawn into political theater. This justice.
I'm telling you, dude, you already drew yourself into political theater. Are you kidding me? Everything you've done, you turned a blind eye to fraud. Fraud was revealed. You told your community to basically defy ICE. They defied ICE. They obstructed. You basically encouraged people to obstruct justice. Allegedly. So don't tell me that you... Don't tell me the state of Minnesota will not be drawn into political theater. You, my God, you act like a theater kid, Tim Walz. Tim Walz, you of all people act like a stupid theater kid. So don't even tell me that you don't want Minnesota in political theater because you've already allowed it, man. You're an enabler and you are a pathological liar. Nobody likes you, Tim Walz. We think you should resign. And you know what? I hope Tim Walz gets impeached. I hope that Tim Walz absolutely gets impeached. I hope he steps down dishonored because what he's done is dishonorable.
Sparked by
He's a POS, dude. He's a terrible person.
Calls for accountability in the face of violence, chaos, and the killing of
Beta.
Renee Good does not seek justice. It is a partisan distraction. Minnesotans are more concerned with safety and peace rather than the baseless legal tactics aimed at intimidating public servants standing shoulder to shoulder with their community.
Texas is feeling unwelcome.
Crazy, man. Cray. Give me 1 second, though. I gotta do something very sexy. Give me 1 second, folks. There's a quick adjustment.
Laugh out loud.
That I got to make. Hey, thank you for subscribing, you guys. I appreciate it, man. Campbell Smith, thank you so much for subscribing. Hey, we're on the road to 7,000. We're currently sitting at 6,958 subscribers. If you subscribe today, you're getting us one step closer to 7,000. And I appreciate everybody's efforts. If we can get to 7,000 on this stream, which, by the way, is extremely possible, I will be the happiest man out here right now. So please subscribe to the channel. And if you can, like the stream as well. It helps in more ways than one. It helps push the stream out to the rest of YouTube. Let's keep watching. Okay, let's see what this says here.
Clashes on the streets of Minneapolis this weekend as Governor Tim Walz mobilizes the state's National Guard, and the Pentagon readies 1,500 soldiers to be deployed to that state. This as the DOJ has launched an investigation into Governor Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey for allegedly impeding ICE agents' ability to carry out their duties. For more on the situation on the ground, let's bring in Minnesota State Senator Steve Drazkowski and his constituent Dirk Cedergren. Thank you both for joining the Sunday briefing this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this morning, the Pentagon, as we mentioned, readying up to 1,500 troops to deploy if the president invokes the Insurrection Act. You've got clashes between protesters and federal law enforcement officers continuing here after a federal judge has limited what federal agents can do to control these protesters. Here's what Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said this morning on Fox News Sunday.
They're throwing rocks at ICE officers. They are standing in the roadway when they try to drive by. They're putting their vehicles in the roadway.
Yeah, that's another thing. Renee Good putting her vehicle in the roadway. That still pisses me off. Like, I will say that Renee Good is still responsible for what happened, and so is the ICE officer as well. Both are responsible for what happened. And, yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep watching. Let's keep reacting. Hold on, let's see. How does the chat work? I'm curious about one feature, though. Well, yeah, let's keep watching.
while they try to drive by. So if a judge tells ICE officers not to violate the constitutional rights of protesters, we got it. Instead of going after ICE officers, what should be happening is local leaders should be sending law enforcement out to stop the protesters from assaulting ICE officers for doing nothing except for their job.
Senator Drazkowski, I'll
Without a doubt, brother, without a doubt.
ask you, should President Trump invoke the Insurrection Act?
You know, I'll leave that, Jackie, up to the president and his ability to exercise prudence.
I mean, with all the craziness that's happening in Minnesota right now and the fact that Governor Walz is lying about everything, yeah, I think the Insurrection Act should absolutely be enabled. Just do it. Just send the military into Minnesota. Minnesota has become a fallen state, a shitty state, and I think they deserve to get their ass handed to them.
These people have taken over the Democrat Party here. They're pervasive throughout the Walz administration, and they're populating and directing the Democrat majority in our legislature. They have no respect for the rule of law or the people tasked with upholding it. I think the important thing is that the president continue on his path and do the best that he can to make sure that the people finish their job. And I'm sure he will exercise prudence as he has done repeatedly.
Yeah, you've got the Department of Justice now investigating.
Yeah, because Trump's the man, dude. Trump is the GOAT.
Minnesota officials, including Governor Walz and also Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, for allegedly impeding law enforcement's ability to do their jobs. Walz told people to collect evidence against ICE in a special address this week, and a tipster reported this email to city employees Friday, alleging, this tipster says, they are working with protesters within the city to help them track down ICE operations. This seems like they're...
That's crazy. They're tracking ICE activity. And you know what's sad? Is it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. It would not surprise me in the slightest if that information was being leaked by the employees to common citizens. Because everybody in Minnesota is basically woke at this point. Because all the sane people who are not woke left Minnesota a long time ago because they're competent people. All the incompetent woke people remained in Minnesota. And they're chilling out there, going crazy because it's cold and they're crazy people. So crazy people in the cold don't mesh well, and they become woke as hell, even more woke than they were before.
Implicit in helping impede ICE agents. Would they like it if we impeded and told people where Minneapolis police officers were trying to do their work? This seems like it is an insurrection. That's what the tipster said. Dirk, what is your sense on the ground? You know, you're a resident business owner there. Do you see a coordinated effort among Minnesota officials to try to impede ICE from doing their jobs?
Well, Governor Walz on the 14th did an address on TV, and it was a very inflammatory statement. All the things he used about pregnant women being dragged through the streets, and ICE is untrained or poorly trained. I know people that in the Rochester school system, about 75 miles south, are being told to impede ICE and to hide vulnerable students.
That's crazy, dude. This whole thing is insane.
Students from ICE. I have another person I know who works in the Minneapolis school system who had a meeting, and they were told to, if ICE showed up, they were to lock the doors and not let them in.
Wow. So if ICE shows up, which is a legitimate federal agency, they lock the doors and they don't let them in. That would be like if the FBI, came to a public school, right? And they needed to investigate that school for whatever purposes. You don't just lock the doors. And if you do, the FBI is going to find their way in. That's the way it works.
Impeding federal agents.
This is coming from school officials to school employees, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, wow. Mayor Frey said that this probe about, allegations of impeding ICE is meant to intimidate him. Governor Walz made the case that the DOJ is being weaponized by the Trump administration. He said, quote, 2 days ago it was Alyssa Slotkin. Last week it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. Senator, I'll ask you, do you think that calmer heads would prevail if the FBI allowed state investigators access to this investigation or made it public?
No, I don't, Jackie. They have an agenda. Tim Walz is losing oil pressure rapidly. A large and growing number of Minnesotans would really like to see him in jail. And we will see articles of impeachment introduced in the Minnesota House when the legislature convenes on the 17th of next month. He is complicit in the theft of over $9 billion by many of the same people that have been attacking federal officers for the past 2 weeks. He will condition any sort of investigation that the state does in order to continue to try to fit the far left narrative, which is a small fraction of a minority of Minnesotans. Most of Minnesota, Jackie, is operating normal. The vast majority of it is. Tim Walz.
The woke people are making things worse. The woke people are just vandalizing shit, putting people's lives in danger, walking into traffic, blocking traffic. They're making everybody's lives miserable because they're spoiled brats who were never spanked, right? These are spoiled brats who were never spanked. And these woke people never got spanked by their parents. They never got told no. The woke people never got told no. And the woke people are just annoying. Okay, let's keep going.
Jacob Fry are continuing to put this forward and get it going to the point that their media operatives in Minnesota who help them support their narrative will keep that narrative going.
Dirk, I'll finish with you. You know, we heard the governor's call to residents of that state saying to, collect evidence against ICE. What are you telling your fellow citizens to do?
Listen, when a law enforcement officer, whether he's federal, state, local, asks you to do something, follow the commands. It's real easy. If they ask for...
Yeah, it's no different than following a police officer's commands at that point. Whether you agree with ICE or not, they're still a federal agency, and they still have things they have to do.
Identification, give them identification. If they ask you to leave, leave.
And by the way, if you woke people don't like what's happening, just go move to Canada. You guys are in Minnesota. I'm sure they wouldn't know the difference between you and a typical Canadian anyway because you're all woke and crazy.
I know I've had staff members come up to me and say, what do I do? And I'll just said, follow the rules. It's real easy. You won't get arrested.
And Senator, any last word?
Laugh
With just
out loud.
about 15 seconds left.
As I mentioned...
Oh, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Michael Prophet. Once again, I want to thank Michael Prophet for subscribing. In fact, let's give a shout out to the people who subscribed real quick. We got Todd Smeltzer. Thank you, Todd Smeltzer, for subscribing. I appreciate it. We got Campbell Smith. Let's see if we got Campbell Smith. Where are you at, boy? Laugh out loud. Thank you for subscribing, Brony. And then we got Michael Prophet once again. Michael Saylor. No, Michael Prophet. Michael Prophet. Laugh out loud. There we go. But thank you guys for subscribing. We got more subscribers. We're almost to 7,000 subs. I can't believe it, man. 7,000 subscribers. We're currently sitting pretty at 6,963. Oh, we got another subscriber. Oh, no, it's just Michael Prophet on there. Sorry about that. My bad. No, I think all the woke Minnesotans need to move to Canada. I think that'd be a good
Minnesota
idea.
would like to see the law enforced. This is our opportunity. The reluctance or actually resistance, the word that that Governor Walz used, the resistance that the Democrats have been placing in front of the rule of law needs to end, and Minnesotans are yearning for these criminals to be removed.
The Minnesota Governor's office.
This is CBS News Minnesota. Thank you for subscribing, Virgin Row. We're going to put Virgin Row back up on here.
Laugh out loud.
Everybody give a shout out to Virgin Row for subscribing. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. We really appreciate it. If you guys can, please tap the subscribe button. We're almost to 7,000. We're almost there, so please, for the love of God, subscribe. No. I'm telling all the woke people. I'm telling all the woke people to move to California. No, not sorry. There's every woke person's in California or Minneapolis. What I'm saying is all the woke people need to move to Canada, is what I think. I'm hoping that all the wokies move to Canada, is what I'm saying. So if you're woke and you're crazy, just move to Canada. Just go up north to Canada. Please, for the love of God, go to Canada. That's all I'm asking. I would prefer it if there were less woke, crazy people here. I would prefer it. I mean, I know how to tolerate thine own neighbor, but you know.
Among others, were served federal subpoenas today. It's the latest development in the ongoing federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota. Caroline Cummings joins us live now from the state capitol with more on those subpoenas. Caroline.
Are you hey, to all the woke people in the chat, raise your hand if you're woke and you want to move to Canada. Say I or say hell yeah. Say hell yeah if you're woke and you want to move to Canada, okay? Just say hell yeah if you're woke and you want to move to frickin' Canada. I bet you guys are woke, all you wokies.
Well, hi there, Aaron. So we learned today the subpoenas came to Walz, the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and Attorney General Keith Ellison and officials in Ramsey and Hennepin counties. In the subpoena to Mayor Fry's office we obtained, the feds are seeking a number of records dating back to January 1st of last year, including...
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I just love the fact that the DOJ is doing subpoenas on the Minnesota governor and Minneapolis mayor in the immigration obstruction probe. This is great, man. Also, they need to investigate the fraud that's happening in Minnesota. Stat. And also, Tim Walz needs to step the... Here's the thing. Tim Walz either needs to resign or he needs to be impeached. I don't care what process you take. Tim Walz does not deserve to be governor. He is shown to be an incompetent governor who is soft on actual fraud and actual crime. Fraud is a crime. But yeah, Tim Walz needs to resign ASAP. Straight up, dude. Tim Walz, just resign, bro. Just resign.
Communications between the mayor's office and the governor's office over federal immigration enforcement. Now, as we reported last week, the DOJ is investigating Walz and Fry over an alleged conspiracy to impede federal immigration agents and escalation in this Trump administration's clash with state officials amid this ongoing immigration crackdown. We do not know if the others served subpoenas are also targets of any investigation. Legal analyst Joe Tamburino says these subpoenas really just mark the beginning of a fact-finding process.
The next step would be, are these officials going to do a motion to the court to what's called quash the subpoena, meaning that you're asking a judge to simply throw it out on different types of grounds. Maybe it's overbroad, it's improper, whatever it might be.
Laugh out loud.
Zombie Slayer 87 says, you should cancel your YouTube channel. How about this? How about this? I refuse to bow down to the woke people. Zombie Slayer 87. How about you cancel your YouTube channel? How's that sound? I'm going to keep doing YouTube because I'm good at it, In fact, I'm incredible at it. In Zombie Slayer 87, I think you should take your woke ass and your woke channel, and I want you to cancel your YouTube channel instead. How's that sound? Sound good? All right, now go give Coach Tim Walz a hug and hit the showers with him. All right.
B. And then a federal court will have to decide whether to let the subpoena stay or to quash it, meaning remove it.
In a statement to us, Mayor Fry said in part, quote,
"Oh, dude, Mayor Jacob Fry, this dude is such a sleazebag. Everything about this guy screams, I'm a sleazy piece of you-know-what."
When the federal government weaponizes its power to try to intimidate local leaders for doing their jobs, every American should be concerned. Governor Walz called the investigation, quote, a partisan distraction. Now, Attorney General...
So wait a minute. Zombie Slayer says you have 58 viewers, loser. So, dude, how the hell am I an incel? I'm 6'1". Actually, I'm 6'2". If I was an incel, why do I have a girlfriend? And why am I 6'2"? The fact that I'm 6'2" means that I have no problem. By default, I'm not involuntarily celibate. How could I be an incel? There's no way. Just because I disagree with you doesn't make me an incel. In fact, if anything, Zombie Slayer 87, you're probably an incel yourself. You're probably a small man trying to attack a big man. It'll fail. Zombie Slayer, why are you gay? Let's keep watching. Get the hell out of here with your bullshit, bro. We're tired of you woke people. What do you mean, you woke people?
General.
Make sure you guys like the stream, though. The more likes we get, the more YouTube pushes us out. We can annoy more people like Zombie Slayer 87. So the goal is I'm going to make people like Zombie Slayer 87. I love it when Zombie Slayer 87 and all of his woke friends hate me because it helps my chat engagement quite a bit. What he doesn't understand is he's doing me a favor by hating on me. So the more hate watchers we get, the better. So please like the stream, and then that way we can get more hate watchers so we can become like the Logan Paul of YouTube. Let's keep watching.
Keith Ellison, in a statement, said the subpoena he received was seeking records and documents related to his office's work, not him personally. Ellison, of course, separately is suing the Trump administration over the surge of immigration enforcement in Minnesota right now, asking the court to put a stop to it, calling it, quote, an unlawful deployment, guys.
Okay, Caroline, live at the Capitol. Thank you.
Seriously, no joke, my goal is to be as annoying as Logan Paul. I really do. I want to be as annoying as Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is a chud.
Smart founders know something most people
gay.
miss. Get your domain
No, he's not really. I don't know if he's gay or
you're
not.
not ready to launch your business. With Wix.
I think YouTube
you can grab yours now
froze
and
on
get
me.
to work. Here's why it matters.
We got it.
There we go. What other news do we have? State employees flipped by feds. Tim Walz is absolutely effed. Oh, here's a YouTube short about how Tim Walz lied to the public. Let's take a look.
And the media is always correct.
How do you rate Kamala Harris's job as border czar? I want a number between 1 and 10. How was she as border czar?
0, dude. Kamala Harris allowed so much illegal immigration. It's crazy.
I wouldn't have a way to measure that. I was not in the administration.
Weren't you her running mate for vice president?
As in the campaign.
And you can't rate her role as border czar on a scale of 1 to 10. Was she great at 10 or was she a 1? Terrible.
I think her proposal that she put forward to make sure we had the bipartisan immigration.
It wasn't bipartisan. Did you ever personally speak?
Dude, Tim Walz is... See, here's the problem with Tim Walz. He's one of those people that's a master of deflection. He's a master at lying to you and making him seem like he's such a good guy. Tim Walz is not a good guy. Tim Walz is the kind of person that you need to avoid. And honestly, if you analyze Tim Walz's body language, you can actually kind of tell he seems swarmy. He seems like he's a liar. He is a worm, absolutely. Tim Walz is absolutely a worm. And I will be more than happy to reveal Tim Walz. ZR Build says fundamental constitutional rights, particularly those related to due process, equal protection, and certain First Amendment freedoms extend to non-citizens, not all rights. All right. Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
With Kamala about Joe Biden's cognitive collapse.
Not that I can recall, Congressman.
Not as her running mate for vice president. You never once talked to her about the president and why she was nominated instead of him.
No, not that I can recall.
What kind of operation were you guys running over there?
I was more concerned with Donald Trump's cognitive.
Thank God he's
He's
president and J.D. Vance is vice president and not you. Have you?
Exactly, dude. I am stoked. Like I am ecstatic that we did not have a Harris Walz presidency. Do you know how bad that would have been? Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are two of the most incompetent people I've ever seen aside from Joe Biden. Like, it's crazy. You can't make this up. It's like a chain of incompetency. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Tim Walz. I didn't think there was anybody more incompetent than Kamala Harris, and then Tim Walz shows up, and I'm like, you know what? There's always a more incompetent human being. And incompetent people love power. Incompetent people love controlling other people. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting power, but power over yourself versus power over others. So people who have zero control over their lives, which is typically incompetent people, tend to want to control others, how they think, how they speak, what they do. Right? It's because they have no control over their life, so they feel like the only way to feel significant is to legitimately just tell people what to do and be annoying. And it sucks.
Have you ever served in a combat zone, Governor?
I have not, Congresswoman.
Okay. Are you still friends with school shooters?
I have never been a friend with a school shooter.
Didn't you say you were friends with school shooters on the debate stage?
Oh, Congresswoman.
Yeah. Is bullying, my mom was a teacher. I'm a high school dropout. We can talk about that later. Is bullying okay?
Is bullying okay as a teacher?
Is bullying okay? Yes or no? Is it okay to bully somebody?
I think there's a time to push back at a bully. So, yes, I do think there's a time.
So you think it's okay to bully others?
I think it's okay to bully the bully at times.
Well, you're showing...
Well, I mean, Tim Walz is a bully. See, Tim Walz is one of those bullies that he'll make you think that he's the victim, but in all reality, this guy is a piece of shit. And Tim Walz is... I really firmly believe, and this is my opinion, that Tim Walz is just is a bad person. The more I look into Tim Walz, the more I realize he's a pathological liar. He's an incompetent boob, and he needs to. He's not going to resign. See, the problem with people like Tim Walz is, even though it's pretty clear that he's incompetent, I don't think he realizes how incompetent he actually is, and I think that's a problem. The problem with incompetent people is they tend not to realize how incompetent they truly are. That's a big deal.
That the Democrat Party is the party of violence. Were you at Tiananmen Square?
Have I been to Tiananmen Square? I have.
Were you at Tiananmen Square?
I have been at Tiananmen Square.
When were you there?
Oh, as I recall, January of 1990.
Okay.
Yeah, Annie, exactly. Annie's correct. A Harris and Walz presidency would have been a disaster. It would have been terrible. ZR Bill says, Jeremy, the whole argument here is that we aren't all Americans. Yep. No, I love Trump. Here's the thing about Trump. I don't think Trump is a bully. You heard me right. I actually don't think Trump is that much of a bully, to be quite honest. If anything, everybody's bullied Trump. Like, think about it. The news agencies have bullied Trump. The entire by the way, all the people that are in politics, they bullied Trump. In a lot of ways, Trump is an outsider, and that's why I voted for him. The reason I voted for Trump is because he's an outsider. And I wanted to see an outsider as the president. You know, I didn't want swarmy guys like Tim Walz or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. I wanted a confident person who couldn't be bought to be president. And by the way, Donald Trump can't be bought. That's why he's so appealing to us. The reason he's appealing is because he's already rich. He already is asset rich. He understands what it takes to turn $1 million into $1 billion, right? So guys like Donald Trump, at the end of the day, can't be bought. I repeat, Trump can't be bought. Well, there is the old saying, every man has his price, and that is very true, by the way. The chances of Donald Trump being bought versus the chances of Kamala Harris being bought are pretty obvious. It's obvious the chances that Kamala Harris would sell out is higher than Donald Trump selling out because he's already made it all. He's already done what he needed to do. Here's the thing about Trump. He didn't like the way that he didn't like the direction America was going in, so he decided to run for office. And thank God he did, because if we had Joe Biden run again, or Kamala Harris, or God forbid Tim Walz, dude. Tim Walz is just, he's gonna get impeached. Tim Walz is gonna get impeached.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Tim Walz is such a piece of garbage. He deserves everything he's getting, dude. Blitzball World Series says, "Hey Garza, what up? Blitzball World Series, how you doing, Brony?" Now I'm excited though. Let's please impeach Tim Walz, please.
In here.
Well, that.
What
okay.
do you want me to say? This is.
I want you to say that a woman like me is an adult human female, that men can't become women. You guys are the party of violence, and you're the party erasing women.
I mean, she's right. Nancy Mace is absolutely right. And we're tired. We are tired of the woke left. And there is a level of fatigue that is happening between people like myself and seeing the woke people who want to tell me that a lie is the truth. I'm tired of pandering to these psychopaths. I'm tired of pandering to psychopaths. I refuse to. And by the way, if anybody tells me how to live my life and starts telling me that I need to change, how about this? You need to change. I refuse to be controlled by psychopaths like Tim Walz. I refuse to be controlled by psychopaths like Tina Kotek in Oregon. I refuse. All right? And the goal is we got to vote in the right people. And I hope for the love of God that Oregon becomes less woke. It's becoming really bad.
Don't respect us. You're a bigot. You're a
and the media is always correct.
How do you rate?
Yeah, Tim Walz is such a swarmy bastard. Yeah. I think Tim Walz just needs to resign. He absolutely should. And by the way, the letters of resignation are probably piling up on his desk as we speak. The letters requesting that Tim Walz resign are probably piling up at his desk as we speak right the F now. Minnesotans are done with you, dude. They're tired of you, Tim. They don't want you.
Laugh out loud.
Thank you, by the way, again, we want to give a shout out to Virgin Row for becoming a subscriber. So if you guys can, please tap the subscribe button. The more subscribers we get, the better. We're on the road to 7,000 subs. So we're almost to 7,000 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you for tapping the subscribe button. It's been a long road getting from there to here. It's been a long time. Let's keep going. Oh, here's another news station. Let's see what they're saying.
The Justice Department has served subpoenas to multiple Democratic officials in Minnesota, including Governor Tim Walz. Those subpoenas indicate the government is investigating whether officials may have conspired to impede federal officials from discharging their duties. Protests against ICE operations continue across the country. In Philadelphia, demonstrators blocked the ICE field office garage for about 90 minutes. Police departments in Minnesota say they have received endless complaints about civil rights violations.
That's the GOAT right here, dude. You know what? Honestly, because the woke people hate this man so much, because the wokies hate this guy so much, all I could do is love him. All I could do is love Donald Trump. And for the love of God, please impeach Tim Walz, because he is an incompetent boob, and he allowed so much fraud and so much terrible stuff to happen under his watch in Minnesota. So shout out to Tim Walz for being one of the worst governors of all time. You my homie, dog. Coach Walz, baby. Make incompetency incompetent again.
From U.S. citizens. A U.S. defense official says 1,500 active duty soldiers are on standby waiting for possible deployment if the president invokes the Insurrection Act.
Let's go. Yeah, this is cray-cray. Hell yeah. Let's take a look at, let's see what Nick Shirley's up to. So Andrew Callahan, I guess, had a response to Nick Shirley. Let's take a look and see what that was all about. So Nick Shirley released the full interview. We could watch the full interview, but it's like 2 hours long. We'll save that for another day. Might even save it for later tonight. I'm not too sure. Here is the Nick Shirley response from Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hill's Science Diet, sensitive stomach.
In one of the world's most elegant resorts at sea with Explorer Journeys.
All right, so normally and historically, my policy for whenever somebody's saying some factually inaccurate stuff about me online is to turn the other cheek, keep my head down, and get back.
Nick Shirley exposed you, man. He exposed that you cut out some important context to what you were saying. So, yeah, let's keep watching.
Back to grinding. But in this case, with Mr. Nick Shirley, who is now falsely accusing me of conducting an unfairly edited...
Dude, by the way, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. Was it like it's like a 2 hour, 30 minute interview, and you cut it to where it was only an hour. And also, another fun fact, you edited some pretty important key parts in that.
interview. I think I'm going to pick option 2 and let people know what went down. Journalistic integrity is something.
Chris Guthrie is asking, you watch Jim Rome? Yeah, dude, I love Jim Rome. Jim Rome is, so it's either Jim Rome or Pat McAfee typically, so I usually go between Pat McAfee and Jim Rome if I want to kind of hear about the latest sports news that's going on. I usually keep up with financial shit and sports. I usually don't venture outside of those bubbles. I just usually stick to sports and investing shit. So, you know me, I'm always investing, man. I'm always doing my thing. Give me a few more moments, though. Yeah, Nick Shirley definitely was not at his best on that interview, but, he's not perfect, that's for sure. But I think he's decent. I think he means well. Is he the most intelligent guy in the world? Probably not. But I do think he means well, for the most part. Give me one more second, folks. No, I mean, Nick Shirley is absolutely a journalist. He's a citizen journalist, and I think he's more important than CNN. I think that what he's doing is more important than what CNN is doing. CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, that's not real journalism, man. That's not real journalism. Mainstream media is not real journalism at this point. It's fake journalism, and Nick Shirley is real journalism, whether you like it or not, dude. Nick Shirley is absolutely 100% real journalism. You may not like to hear that, but he is a real journalist.
Thing that I kind of take a little bit seriously, and I can see a future wherein access is limited to prominent people, especially conservatives, if I don't dispel this false narrative immediately in its entirety right the heck now. So to do this right, I'll have to show you a couple of things, including text messages between him and I, and actual footage of the working premiere sequence that I used to edit the interview, so you can see what was cut and why. So let's begin with an editing lesson. So when we're dealing with a long-form interview of somebody who talks very slowly and circles back to repetitive talking points, one of the first things that we do in post-production is cutting what's called dead air, which means long pauses between words or sentences, or fixable verb.
By the way, if you want, there's nothing wrong with long pauses. Sometimes you have to have a little dead air. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of dead air in an interview. It's not, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you need a little bit of a pause state. I think this is why people like podcasts and they don't like overly edited videos. And also, I think when you keep it unedited, especially in this instance with Nick Shirley, I think you should have kept it unedited. Straight up. And I say, why not? Keep it unedited, man. Also, by the way, we're at 6,963 subs. So if you can, make sure you tap the subscribe button. Once again, we're at 6,963 subscribers. Subscribers, I might add. So make sure that you tap the subscribe button to keep up to date with this sexy show that we have. And then also tap the like button. Tapping the like button helps us out. It pushes us out on the algorithm quite a bit. So even the simple act of tapping the like button helps us out on the algorithm immensely.
Verbal stammers to slow down the conversation and risk boring the viewer. So in this raw interview with Nick, which had a total runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, we had to cut nearly half an hour of dead air to make it listenable. Many people like to choose their words carefully, so I get it, but there was a couple points in the interview that even in person we had to have Nick repeat himself.
I do think that Nick... I honestly, seriously think that when Nick was doing this interview with Andrew Callahan, Nick looked burnt out as F. I mean, when you're getting death threats up the ass, it's pretty tough not to feel burnt out. I would feel emotionally drained just seeing all the death threats in my DMs. I'd be like, whoa, dude. It's crazy, man. It's cray-cray. But thank you guys for tapping the subscribe button. The more subscribers we get, the better. And yeah, we're almost to 7,000 subs. Can you believe it? 7,000 subscribers.
Because the crew felt that no amount of corrective editing would possibly be able to make him sound normal.
It's been an interesting few days, past 72 hours. My video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than Mr. Beast.
Can you say the fraud in Minnesota again? Because you kind of stuttered.
Yeah. Wait, are there going to be cuts in this, or just going to be one take?
Which will make it perfect. So if we ask for to say it again, it's just to make sure you say it perfectly.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, So my video on the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, expose style. than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast.
So bear with me here. I'm going to show you the raw footage, and we'll see how with the magic of editing, we were able to make Nick sound actually smarter and faster than he was in person. Check this out.
How does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the HHS, Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax.
I am legitimately glad they're trying. This is kind of a boring video, I'm not going to lie.
Dollars to these businesses that are not really business.
Yeah, this is not Nick's best interview. And honestly, I think he's burnt out. I think when you have burnout and you're tired, it's tough to even speak.
How does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota.
Hey guys, if you can, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel grow. Also, like the stream too. Liking the stream pushes us out on the algorithm into all sorts of different sectors of YouTube. So the simple act of liking the stream goes a long way. So anything you guys could do to help out, it means a lot.
And then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses.
So in that interview, we probably did that same thing as far as trimming dead air and splicing B-roll. No joke, probably 30 times, as you can see here on the timeline. And it was never to take him out of context, but to help him get his point across. We do this for every good faith interview or 5-cast we've conducted so far. From Hunter Biden, which had a raw run time of 5 hours before being cut to 3:24, to Hunter Kozak, to Alex Jones, to Hamilton Morris, Janet DeSanti, to pretty much everybody we've ever talked to.
Exactly. 100% not. Is that and there's this conflation that people have. I think they're opening up an investigation to cocaine that was found in a cubby outside the West Wing of the White House.
We aren't live streamers or live podcasters, and we like to package our interviews for efficiency and entertainment value. So that's just something that we do. So the other cuts in the Nick Shirley interview.
I think it's great to go fully unedited, to be honest. I think going fully unedited just feels more legit. It feels more, you know what I mean? I think overly edited shit pisses me off. If I'm going to be honest, I think it pisses most people off, especially in interviews. Just keep it as it is. Don't even bother editing it. Just upload the raw shit. That way nobody can accuse you of anything. And then people will still be entertained.
Interview that weren't dead air related, where conversation would be.
Because I feel the way they did it, because having Nick repeat himself on certain things, I feel like it cuts off the flow of natural conversation, and it feels like they're just acting. I want real conversation. I want there to be a natural flow. Even if there's errors, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if there are errors in an interview. Errors happen. To err is human. To human is to err.
That I personally found either boring, repetitive, or so off topic to the point that they derailed the conversation away from its intended focus, which was fraud in Minnesota and Shirley's personal background. We cut probably 25 minutes of unproductive, redundant banter about Portland, Mormonism, gay marriage, his new crypto coin.
I heard you also made a coin of some kind?
I did not. Well, I didn't make a coin. I just joined a platform where you can monetize your content. And it is a coin. You can then monetize your content, just similar to like how you upload on TikTok. You can upload your stuff on there. It's just based off Coinbase.
The history and ethics of welfare in America, and 6 whole, nearly identical back and forths about his 89% statistic that he falls back on unchallenged.
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians, and 89% of the fraud being committed inside Minnesota is by the Somalian population. 89% of the fraud happening by people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not racist to point out a statistic. It's not.
Who were brought into our country and then committing fraud. So 89% of the fraud happening in Minnesota is from the Somalian population.
Right, but 95% of Somali Americans in Minnesota are legal.
Yeah, 89% of Somalians are committing fraud.
Since we ended up including an extensive dialogue about that stat.
Nick Shirley's the man, dude.
On the 50-minute mark of the final cut, I personally didn't feel the need to torture all of you guys with 5 other versions of that conversation.
Oh, by the way, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. It helps push us out to the algorithm. We're so close to 7,000 subscribers, you guys. So close. Just the simple act of pressing the subscribe button pushes us up and up and up. We're almost to 7,000. Like, I still can't believe I'm even saying this.
89% of the population, or 89% of the fraud being committed in Minnesota is by Somalians.
And just so we can put that on screen to verify, do you know where that data is from?
Yes, you can put it up on screen. It's public.
And if you watch that raw cut, the 2-hour cut, which I made clear in text with Nick that I was willing to share with him in 4K when I got back from Greenland, you will see exactly what I mean. This is not a Sacha Baron Cohen style ambush edit or a Jim Jeffries Avi Yemeni situation where I primed him, by saying crazy shit to get his guard down and then Shanghai him in post-production. I was trying to help Nick Shirley, which it seems up until yesterday he really appreciated. So after the interview came out about a week ago, he texted me right after saying the backdrop of this interview is hilarious. It was filmed in his uncle's upscale game room in Farmington, Utah, in front of several taxidermied bears that were presumably killed by the Shirley family. He goes on to say, fun watching the reaction from both sides. Appreciate you coming out. Wish you the best in all you do, bro. To which I replied kindly. But then the Clippers started doing the thing that they do counter Biden, finding the most outrageous or dumb soundbite in the entire piece and memeing it into oblivion while missing the entire point of the dialogue, which was to try to find common ground on issues like affordability and the collapse of the mainstream media.
I mean, I fundamentally hope that everything you're saying is true, just so you know.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah,
I hope we all have the best interest in society and for our people, because the affordability is insane and people can't buy houses. And if we're talking...
That's true. I mean, it is cool they touched on some interesting subjects during that interview. I got to give them props. But, we'll see.
Talking about creating change, we need to let innovation prosper inside the United States.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing it. We're not seeing innovation. In fact, we're seeing fraudsters take our money.
If you guys saw, the clip that did the most rounds was when Nick tried and failed to pronounce the word benevolent.
Who do you think are the 3 most benevolent billionaires?
What do you mean by the word benevolent?
Just well-intentioned, positive billionaires who you think are creating,
Yeah, the benevolent thing. Some people don't have the most expansive vocabulary in the world, so benevolent, he's 23 years old. It's possible he never heard that word before, doesn't even know what it means. That happens. Everybody's got gray areas in their vocabulary.
Net positive societal progress.
Trump, our president?
Because
Nick has enough money for speech therapy now. Honestly, if I was Nick Shirley, I wouldn't go into speech therapy. I would just take all that money and invest it into the Vanguard Total World Index and never have to worry about anything ever again. I mean, it could crash, but honestly, it's not financial advice. I'd probably put 70% of whatever cash he's making from YouTube into the VT, and then 30% of it could just sit in a checking account and do whatever he wants with it.
Never said it right and said malevolent twice. There was no way to cut the dead air or trim the stammer, so we left it in, and personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal to not know that word. I mean, he is wearing a hoodie that is making fun of immigrants for their spelling errors, but benevolent has more syllables than learning, so I get it. But the comments on this clip were brutal, like actually genuinely mean, and it couldn't have felt good from his perspective to read these things. We're talking tens of thousands of people declaring this guy is retarded.
Hey, sometimes you say stupid things, and the best thing you could do is ignore the comments. There's a lot of live comments that I choose not to look at because they're just people that are trying to get under my skin. And honestly, if you want to get under my skin, send me a super chat. If you want me to read, if you really want me to read what you have to say aloud and truly fully acknowledge it, send me a super chat. That's all you got to do. Sending me a super chat is seriously the extent of it. Simple as that.
Which he's not. But there are some moments in the interview that even with dead air trimmed for speed, Nick does not give his best performance, particularly when blaming immigrants for rising rent prices.
It's just simple supply and demand. If you have 20 million people who need to come and buy a house or rent an apartment, and you have other people who need it, you're going to raise the prices.
Suggesting that Muslim Americans keep multiple wives in private while dismissing the association with his own religion, Mormonism, and polygamy.
I mean, Mormonism's just as guilty about having multiple wives as is Islam. But yeah, no, both religions kind of suck. But
It's just a harmful stereotype.
As far as the wives go, that's not a thing in Utah.
It's not a thing in Utah.
That's a negative stereotype.
Negative stereotype.
And also confronting me about staying silent on the death of Charlie Kirk, while admitting that he consciously chose to not watch the video that I made in the immediate aftermath of it.
And so I thought that was kind of messed up of you to not publicly denounce what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I did.
And I didn't even watch the interview because I didn't want to watch that.
I will admit, there are times that Nick Shirley sounds like a brain-dead nincompoop. I don't think he's very good at being interviewed. I think he's you know what's surprising is he's actually decent at investigating, but some guys who are decent at investigating suck at interviews, like actually being interviewed. So I just think that's one of those things where I don't think he was expecting a lot of the questions, and I think he was thrown off very easily. I'm not trying to make too many excuses for Mr. Shirley, but what I'm trying to say is we should be thanking him, though. He did expose legitimate fraud in Minnesota, right? Legitimate fraud. Allegedly. I'm still going to say allegedly just to cover my ass, but he exposed real fraud in Minnesota.
Well, you should watch it.
I don't want to.
Well, you should watch the video because I say some stuff in it.
Okay, cool.
None of these moments were a very good look for Nick, but I did not engineer them that way. And if I was a betting man, I would suggest that much of the hostility displayed toward him in the comments is because his reporting, which was signal boosted by Trump and his cronies, has been a driving factor in ICE's decision to escalate their presence in Minneapolis. You know, kidnapping kids from local high schools, terrorizing U.S. citizens in their own communities, shooting people in the streets, and hiding behind masks like the goddamn cow.
Yeah, you know who gave him the leads, by the way? The Minnesota Republicans, because they realized that their incompetent governor was, and also incompetent Jacob Fry as the mayor, were basically turning a blind eye to fraud and allowing it to happen. So because they turned a blind eye to fraud, naturally, the people in Minnesota government were pissed. And they should be pissed. I would be. I would absolutely be so pissed.
How old they are. However, that's just my personal opinion. I don't like ICE. I don't like Trump, which is something that I made clear to Nick in the interview.
What do you think about Trump?
I don't like him.
There was no deception anywhere, but sometimes...
Yeah, I will admit, Andrew's pretty honest about... I will say about this. Andrew's at least honest about his feelings and what he believes, so I'll give him props. Do I think he's a little bit of a leftist shill sometimes? Sure. And you can also make the argument that Nick Shirley is a little bit of a right-wing shill as well. Give me one moment. I'm going to eat some potatoes in front of you guys. Okay, so I will say the potatoes are not fully done, in my opinion. I need them to be a little more cooked. So I took a little bite of the potatoes and I was like, I cut them up. You know, I sliced up the potatoes. But yeah, pretty decent. Let's keep watching this, man. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're currently sitting pretty at 6,962 subscribers. Once again, we're sitting pretty at 6,962 subscribers. Make sure that you guys take the time to subscribe to the channel, and we're going to watch the rest of this clip. Well,
and I'm not sure what the word is for this in the journalism field, the person that you interview views your fans as an extension of you. So if your fans are dicks to them, they kind of feel like that's you shading them. And that's definitely what happened. Right after the benevolent clip went micro-viral, Nick began to send texts to me that alluded to the footage being manipulated, writing, "Greenland will be epic and cold. Let me know if you need any locals. I still have some contacts there. Just curious though, why didn't you post a full 2+ hour interview instead of the selected 1 hour of the interview?" Notice the word selected. Nick suggests that I cherry-picked his worst moments, which is concerning because we consciously did the opposite. But as you can see from these texts, I explained our entire editing process to him, as I did to all of you, and as I mentioned, even offered to send him all of the raw video files when I get home from Greenland, which I'm doing now, and gave him full permission to clip any and all moments of the piece for his own socials. Fast forward to 2 days later. I wake up in Nuuk, Greenland to see that Nick has posted a video filmed on a sly side camera, captioned something like, "In case you guys want to know how the interview really went, here's this." Nick's bullshit crybaby video here points to 2 pieces of damning evidence. Exhibit A. Nick grills me here about Democrat cities being catastrophic failures after failing to understand that I am not a supporter of the Democrat Party. I am from Seattle, a failed blue city, and then asks me to name thriving blue cities. So I named Austin, Nashville, El Paso, and then while smirking, I mentioned Denver because, as shown in Nick's angle, I didn't actually know if Denver was doing well because I don't spend much time in Colorado.
Like, when have you seen an American city? What American city is prospering right now?
Austin.
Austin. Name another one.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas is prospering.
Yeah. I think.
Why you think?
It's doing better. New bars and restaurants have opened, but I can probably think of some better examples.
Like what?
Nashville's doing good. Austin's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of.
In any place that's not Democrat.
I don't know about that. I mean,
name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
A city inside of a blue.
By the way, none of the Democrat-run cities are ever affordable. I mean, I will admit, I'm lucky I live in a coastal town where everything's pretty cheap, but it's a coastal town that nobody wants to move to, and I will take that. Give me a few moments. I'm looking over a couple patents. Let's see here.
State that is prospering. Denver.
Why are you smirking?
Because I don't know if it's prospering or
Because
not.
it's not. See, you can't even answer the question, dude. It's not prospering. Denver's not prospering either.
But in post-production, I did some research and found out that my intuition was correct. Denver is currently experiencing a decline in violence and property crime, a large influx in population, job growth, and
Man, I honestly hope we take Greenland. I would love it if the United States found a way to take Greenland. I am so on board with it. Like, I am absolutely on board. Let's take Greenland, dude. I don't know if it's the right idea, but I mean, it sounds sexy. I mean, it sounds very sexy to be able to have Greenland. Let's have Greenland, dude. Hell yeah. Turns me on. Kind of gets me sprung just thinking about it, man. Hey, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please, please, if you can, take the time to subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, you won't miss out on a single piece of this information. And if you like the stream, do you know what that does? If you like the stream, it pushes the stream out to more people. And if more people know about the stream, then I can annoy them by me existing. So, all right. But yeah, take the time to subscribe. Take the time to like the video. The more likes we get, the better. So please like the stream and tap subscribe. It really does help the channel grow in more ways than one. Let's keep on watching the video.
And a number of other great things. So I chose to trim a brief section after I mentioned Denver that indicates a bit of self-doubt, given that I ended up being correct. I also trimmed a soundbite where I said that many Democrat cities are run poorly because it was redundant. After our conversation about Denver, I then launched into a tirade about how I am not a Democrat, don't believe in the capacity of the two-party system to enact meaningful change, believe that Gavin Newsom has misappropriated California's tax revenue through NGOs, reinforce my belief in voting on a local level, and then give Nick the benefit of the doubt and say that I hope he's right about Trump and the GOP's ability to mitigate the affordability crisis that's made many places like my hometown, Seattle, unlivable for those who grew up there.
So I support voting on a local level for sure.
I also suggest if you're watching this...
Yeah, because here's the thing. If you focus on who is in the local government currently, that does matter. That matters quite a bit, actually. So whoever the hell is in your local government, keep an eye on that. I want to do something real quick, you guys. Please like the stream. I want to do an experiment. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Toggle the pin. Thank you guys for taking the time to like the stream, though. The more likes we get, the better. It does help the channel grow. It helps my dong feel bigger than it really is. So please like the stream. Tap subscribe, and please like the stream. We really appreciate it.
And you want to see videos that I've made about dysfunctional blue cities, watch San Francisco streets, Albuquerque streets, Las Vegas tunnels, and Philly streets. So the second clip that Nick posted really makes my blood boil because it is so disingenuous. As I mentioned 6 or 7 times in this interview, Nick references the stat that 89% of fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalis. We aired the version where we asked him to show us the data on his phone, which he found using Google search results powered by ChatGPT. So in the video he posted, you can see me look in the camera after he shows it to me and saying something like, "All right, damn, I guess he's right then. Let's put that on screen."
Soon will be telling the whole stadium how Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to save people hundreds. Whoa.
Well, either way, it's whether it's 89% or 82%, whatever the actual number is, that's still quite a bit of Somalians committing fraud, just to let you know. That's still insane, and I think that can't be understated. I'm going to say that right now. That cannot be understated, man. And by the way, I refuse to purchase YouTube Premium because it's, I don't know, even if I had a lot of money, I still wouldn't purchase YouTube Premium, but I will say this. I will tell you guys this. I will purchase YouTube Premium if and only if I have at least 100,000 subscribers. If I have 100,000 subscribers, I will absolutely buy a YouTube Premium subscription. Until then, though, I'm not going to do it. I have to have 100,000 subscribers on my channel, without a doubt. Wait a minute. The Seahawks are beating the Rams? Hold on. Are the Seahawks playing right now? Okay, that'll be Sunday. Seahawks will host. Okay, you scared me for a second. But yeah, I honestly believe that the Seahawks are going to beat the Rams. Now, the Rams are a little bit scary because Sean McVay is a decent coach, but I still don't think the Rams are going to be able to beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense is so good and the Rams defense is kind of mediocre. All the Seahawks have to do is at least play decent offense. Nothing crazy. We just got to get the ball downfield. Even if we have to just do field goals only, a field goal is still points. So get points on the board. Let the defense do the work, whether it's field goals, whether it's actual touchdowns. Sam Darnold, let's just get the ball down the field. Whether it's slowly, whether it's quickly. Just get the ball down the field. Don't turn over the ball. No crazy interceptions. You don't have to do anything cray-cray. Just play efficiently. Because here's the thing. Darnold's actually doing a little bit better than he used to. So I'm very excited to see what Sam Darnold is able to accomplish. I really am.
Charged in connection with specific high-profile federal fraud cases. Millions.
89% of those charged in connection with major... Wow.
Identified as Somalian Americans.
Well, looks like it looks like
I'm interested to see what you put in this interview because
looks like there is a problem with fraud.
He is kind of right. However, this.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Shirley's on the right path. I think what he's doing is correct. Also, by the way, please like the stream. The more likes we get, the better. So, please like as well. Please tap like as well. Please tap the like button. You know, maybe I just need to put like the stream. But yeah, tap the like button, tap the subscribe button, man. We're doing the best we can and seeing what we could pull off, man. The more likes we get, the better. The
stat refers specifically to the already litigated Feeding Our Future case, which resulted in over 60 fraud convictions in Minnesota. The ringleader of the nonprofit behind the scam, Amy Bach, is white, but it is true that 89% of convicted defendants in that case were Somali. And that's what makes me so pissed about this particular piece of evidence that Nick presented.
I'm a little bit pissed that you're still not acknowledging that That group is still committing fraud, by the way. They just decided to all open up daycares.
That's the exact thing that he is showing me on his phone in the video is what I put on screen on the final cut. I did exactly what I said I would. He frames my decision to put that on screen as some kind of like liberal ball-busting fact check, but it's actually supplemental context for something he is literally fucking showing me, which is why it pisses me off. So that's all I have to say. I'm just in a phase in my life where I've been doing this for so long and I care about this so much that I don't want to play these kind of games, especially with people who can't take an L. I want to put my credibility on the line by spinning things in a way that benefits their reputation.
He literally went out of his way to try and make me look bad, which is not cool. And I wouldn't say that's like very benevolent of him to do.
I think my policy moving forward, especially when working with people who are filming their own versions of things and lack the integrity to be honest with their fan base, is to either go live during every interview or upload the full raw files on Patreon the moment a final cut hits YouTube, so there's no room for these kinds of shenanigans, because it's exhausting and I've got real investigations and real documentaries.
Yeah, the thing is, man, just release the raw footage. If you really don't want people to doubt you, just release the full interview. Interviews are not meant to be perfect. I think it's better for an interview to have raw moments. I think that's the best way to do it is allow the interview to unfold naturally. If you have too many pauses, when I say that, I mean like don't turn this into I don't know. Andrew Callahan, though, I think is kind of a chud. But let's see. Tim Smith said, I've never heard of this moron interviewer before his Nick Shirley interview. Yeah, I had seen a couple of his clips. Like I saw Andrew Callahan interview Alex Jones, for example. I just think that Andrew Callahan, I do feel like he does a few things in bad faith, but obviously, I don't know. That's just my feeling. Andrew Callahan does feel a little sketchy to me sometimes. He does definitely have a lot of sketchiness to him that I just like, I don't know.
In the field, in the works, that I need to prioritize.
By the way, everybody, we got Tim Smith in the house. Tim Smith, the GOAT, our boy. I am going to be leaving here around... I'm probably going to end the stream around 5:20, I think. And the reason I'm going to end the stream at 5:20 is because I'm going to be going over to, what the hell do you call it? DJ Bingo tonight. And, DJ Bingo is pretty fun. We have a blast whenever we go. So, going to do that. And then, and then I'll probably end up doing, one more stream tonight. I'm probably only going to be streaming for an hour. I think I'm probably going to end the stream in about 15 minutes right now, because we're I'm starting to turn into Nick Shirley a little bit. We're going to end the stream in 15 minutes. About Andrew Callahan, I mean, it's just intuition. But there were a few, wasn't he like also doing some stuff? Wasn't he getting kind of touchy-feely? I don't know. Andrew Callahan he gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, just a little bit. Other than that, though, I think he's a decent interviewer. I don't think he's fully unethical, but I believe if it serves his purpose, he will pull off an unethical move. Everybody's capable of doing that. Yeah. Sometimes you got to go with your gut. That's why we have intuition. If somebody seems sketchy, sometimes you got to avoid them. If somebody seems sketchy, you kind of avoid them. Simple as that.
Over these malevolent antics. 2026, keep my fucking name out your mouth. 5.
Channel 5 live worldwide, Hollywood and Vine. Fuck the...
Well, good job, Channel 5 News. I appreciate you guys. Nah, Nick Shirley's the man, though, dude. Nick Shirley's my homeboy, dude. I love this guy, man. Let's see. All right, I'm just seeing what else is going on here. Citizen hero sneaks into the fraud center in California.
Do you know what's actually in your tap water?
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, I think it really makes sense why the left hates Nick Shirley so much, why they've enacted this massive campaign to basically destroy him, to label him a white supremacist, an evil MAGA racist who's got a history of extremist views, and he's a known liar and propagandist. You know, they've really launched an onslaught against him, and I think real suppose, but it's certain story.
Hospice Incorporated,
Oh, shit.
Wellspring Home Health, Golden Touch Home Health.
So does this
Amazing
guy
Health,
actually sneak in?
Dignity Care Hospice, Moonlight Hospice Incorporated, Thousand Oaks Hospice Incorporated, Premier Home Care Agency, Altruistic Hospice Incorporated, Capital Hospice Care Incorporated. Some of those don't even have signs on their doors.
And so obviously, you know, it was suspicious, but it wasn't necessarily a smoking gun. All we were really able to see was the directory, and obviously you can tell something is amiss here. To have one office building with so many home care businesses, it just doesn't strike me as natural. You know, you go in these buildings, and usually you'll see all kinds of different tenants, but to see 15 different units, all with the same type of businesses, or like we saw in Minnesota, where per capita, I mean, the amount of daycares they had just made no sense. Clearly something is wrong, but again, it's just a directory. But then in comes the follow-up. A couple days later, it appears he got inside into one of these offices. Now, I don't know how, but he got in, and oh, it's so much worse than you could imagine. Or I guess, like I said earlier, it's just as bad as you might expect at this point. Take a look.
Just down the hall from Hospice, Atlantic Care Hospice is just a weird consulting business that's just empty with shredded documents.
So basically, it's another fake business that's just being run. It seems like it could be a real business, but honestly, they're just taking up office space to seem like they're legitimate. That's hilarious, dude. Holy shit.
There's nothing suspect going on here. Okay, if you guys want to enroll your elder
This is funny.
family member,
It's great.
it's definitely the spot. Let's go visit Hospice of Nation. This isn't just West Coast or East Coast, okay? The entire nation. Hello. Told me to come back during normal business hours. I'm here. It's 4:20 p.m. on a Wednesday. You guys open? I got a lot of people asking what your normal business hours are. It says 24/7 on Google, which would mean all the time. And I think this is actually part of that time. So you guys should be open. Is there anything I'm missing? All right. You would think Hospice of Nation had more resources, but apparently not.
Absolutely insane. What is going on here? It's a ghost town. That is not a real commercial office. Now again, it's a Potemkin village. I mean, clearly there's only one conclusion to come to. Nobody works there. That is not a real business. And you know, some people are saying, well, oh, of course no one's gonna be there. It's home healthcare, stupid. They're traveling and going to people's homes. Well, even if that's the case, these businesses, I'm assuming, require a whole lot of paperwork, right? There's a whole lot of bureaucracy involved here. You either need printers, computers, filing cabinets. Where's all the information, all the data on your clients? Where are all the medical records and profiles for your customers? I mean, they don't even have a computer set up there. And clearly you could tell
That's
the difference
crazy,
between
man.
an actual occupied office and a clearly abandoned office. I don't think anybody's been there in months, possibly even
This
years.
is
but they're
seriously
still
wild,
probably
man.
billing the state now, aren't they? It's a ghost town. Time and time again. This is what people are finding. And obviously it's a total sham designed to funnel billions billions of dollars in these fraudulent schemes. None of it makes sense, and it's obvious what's happened. This is a compounding issue of decades of just spending more and more money, increasing taxes, bigger government, more funding earmarks, decades of dollars being funneled through these systems, and very clearly with little oversight. A lot of this stuff is happening totally unchecked. You got so many tax dollars allocated to different issues over the decades, and no scrutiny on where the money is going. You know, Pandora's box has been opened, the genie's out of the bottle, and now Democrats want to shove it back in, but it's not going to happen. The people won't let it happen. And obviously, at some point, there has to be clawbacks. At some point, you have to stop the bleeding. It is obvious what is going on here. You have all these complex webs of government contractors, NGOs, that have all kinds of money being funneled through them, but they are not legit. They're not running real services or real businesses. They're simply siphoning off incredible amounts of money, and clearly you have these big government...
That's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Politicians, these leftists, these Democrats, who don't have the freaking balls to do what's right. This is why they're trying to hide the records. This is why Tim Walz had his staff fabricate the numbers and retaliated against the whistleblowers. They refused to expose it, to investigate it, to be transparent, because clearly they're too scared of the truth coming to light and how that would reflect on them, on their party, on their failed leadership.
Yeah, and the best way to... It's a huge cover-up, man. What's happening in Minnesota is a real cover-up, and I think it's a shame, man, and I hope Tim Walz is ashamed of himself. Obviously, he's not. Tim Walz is probably very proud of what he did. He shouldn't be. But, you know, I really do hope that they investigate this even further. And, by the way, there's going to be calls for Tim Walz to be impeached. It's going to happen. There's going to be real... He's going to have to answer for it at some point, man. People are going to call for his resignation, and they absolutely should. Absolutely call for his resignation. Tim Walz, we're done. We're done with you, bud. We don't want you. You're bad for Minnesota. Maybe you should be the governor of Oregon. I have no clue. But, man... Tim Walz is the worst, dude. Tim Walz is the worst. Anyway, I will catch you guys later. I do have to jet. I'm going to be going to do some DJ bingo. And yeah, we're going to go do that. We're going to have a good old time. And I am going to chill the F out, y'all. All right, but I'll catch you all later, and stay safe, stay sexy. Walz will be indicted for fraud. Absolutely, man. Walz is definitely done, and he's going to, man. And, yeah, impeach Tim Walz, without a doubt, dude. I hope Tim Walz gets impeached, man. Nancy Wilson says Tim Walz is a better man than you. Well, Nancy Wilson, by the way, Nancy Wilson, you're a better man than Tim Walz, all right? So, Tim Walz is terrible. I hope he gets impeached. I think he's one of the worst governors of all time. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. More subscribers we get, the better. It does help the channel grow. But, yeah, and then if you can, tap the like button. But I'll see you guys on the next episode. We'll probably do a live stream a little bit later tonight. And, yep, I'll see you guys later. Do what I can. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Yar har, sailor to be. Being a pirate is all right with me. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You
laugh out loud.
Hey, hold on. Before we go, I want to acknowledge this $10 super chat. It's a $9.99, but we'll call it $10. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Justin. Thank you for the donation, Justin. Let us hope that that Tim Walz. I'm trying to think. I want to see what I can say on here. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, though, man. I appreciate it. If anybody wants to give any last-minute super chats, obviously we're going to accept them. We are always very accepting of super chats and stuff like that. But yeah, let me finish this thought real quick. Thank you so much for the donation. Please subscribe to @JustinMichaelUSA for being a total stud. And hey guys, make sure you guys subscribe to Justin Michael USA. Once again, @Justin Michael USA. Thank you so much for that $10 super chat, man. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. It helps the channel keep rolling and going. And you know, we're always trying our best to keep the show going and keep the show running at a high level. And stuff like that really helps more than people would ever realize. So I really appreciate it. And but to the rest of you guys, I just want to say thank you all. Thanks for being a stud muffin, man. I appreciate you, Brony. And but yeah, Justin Michael, I thank you, brother. Appreciate you keeping this going strong. And let's pray that Tim Walz gets impeached. I think Tim Walz is going to get impeached. I think that there's a lot of damning evidence. And people are calling for him to resign. And does he deserve to resign? Absolutely, dude. Tim Walz is absolutely going to resign. He should. I think he should. But yeah, please, for the love of God, please subscribe, you guys. It really does help the channel grow in so many ways. I know my dong will always be small, but you guys fill my heart with goodness and love. Thank you so much, Kaniki, for subscribing. I appreciate that. Like I said, before we end the stream, make sure you guys tap the subscribe button, because we're going to end the stream here in just a little bit if you don't want to miss out on future streams where we call out the Walz administration, where we call out Minnesota for being too woke and for turning a blind eye to fraud for too frickin' long. Let's go. I'm going to wear a juicy man thong when I go to DJ Bingo, I think. I'm not sure yet. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. But I'm out, dude. I'm outie 9,000, brah. My bronies. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Bye for now.